Hello creators, it's Melissa with Melissa's Creations. I am really excited to be sharing this beautiful embossed and shiny card with you guys today. This is a card that I made using the Winter Woods bundle along with the new tin tile textured impressions embossing folder from the holiday catalog. I'm really excited to show you guys this technique and this tree coloring. If you can see all of the different fall variegated colors in there, there's a fun technique using the Stampin that I'm going to be showing you in this video today. This is part of the ICS blog hop. This month's theme is Fall for All. I can't wait to share my hop project with you guys. Let's get started making this a beautiful fall inspired card. So we are going to need a few pieces of cardstock. You need a scrap of Whisper White for the trees and for your sentiment here. We're also using the Fresh Fig cardstock for this stitched shape oval, as well as a card mat right here and our card base. Now I have my card opening this direction just because I thought that was different, and I don't make lots of cards that way. I usually make them where they fold up. So that is the cardstock we're using. We also need this beautiful piece of gold foil. I am so excited. This would look lovely with any color foil, but I think gold really brings out the fall colors in the trees over here. So I'm going to cut my gold foil first. I'm going to cut this piece to measure 3 3/4 by 5. I also have a standard sheet of Fresh Fig cardstock. This sheet is 8.5 by 11. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it on the short edge. This is the 8.5 edge. So I'm going to put this in my trimmer at 4 1/4 and cut it lengthwise. And now I'm going to rotate this 11-inch piece and score it at 5 1/2. And that will give me my card base. Now I'm going to cut my card mat out of the other half. So for that, I need a piece that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm going to start by cutting the 5 1/4 off of this length, and then I'll trim this piece down to 4 inches. And finally, we need a scrap of Whisper White, and if you can believe it or not, I don't have a scrap that I need. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just trim this down, and I can get both of the pieces that I need out of approximately 4 by 5. So I'm just gonna trim this down to 5 and then cut a 4-inch piece off this way. I'll have plenty left over for more scraps on another project, but we're gonna start with that size. And we are definitely playing with the Stampin today. I love the Stampin so much. It is so cool. If you haven't got a chance to play with it yet, I highly encourage you to get it out and play with it if you have one. And if you don't have one, I highly encourage you to hop on over to MKre8tions.com, click on Shop Now, and get your own because these are awesome. So I'm gonna open this up here. So I just cut a piece of grid paper to fit in here, but pretty soon something fun is going to be coming, so stay tuned. I'm going to take my Whisper White piece and I'm just gonna kind of put it in the middle, and I'm gonna use those magnets, those super strong magnets. Now I had washi tape on these, but the washi tape kind of fell off when I tried to pick them up because they got stuck together. So I tried to pull them apart and the washi tape came off. So I need to redo that, but I'm gonna put those in each corner to hold down that sheet of Whisper White. And I'm going to get my Winter Woods stamp set, and we're using these trees here. Now they are bare. You can see on here, there's no leaves. Well, we're gonna pretend. We're just gonna pretend that they have leaves, and we're gonna color them in just like if they did have those leaves on them. So I'm going to actually, you know what? I think I want to turn this so I can get the most use out of this sheet of Whisper White. So I'm going to turn it this direction, and I'm going to stamp my trees up here at the top. Now it doesn't matter if your trees are crooked or straight, that doesn't matter right now because we're going to be cutting out an oval from the trees. So I'm just going to put them up there, and I'm going to push this plate down to pick that stamp up. Now what I love about the Stamparatus is you can take the plate off, which I'll be doing so that I can color in pieces of that stamp. So I'm using some Stampin' Write markers. I have some from the 2017-2019 in colors that I'll be using, and then I am going to use a few others from our collection of markers. Now you can check out the markers by heading to my website, MKre8tions.com, see the corresponding blog post for this video, which there's a link in the description below. And you'll be able to click on coloring tools, and you'll find the markers on my shopping page. They are awesome. I really love having these markers on hand for different projects like this. I just think that a variety of markers when you're trying to do some more artistic type of stamping is really good to have all the colors on hand. So from the in color range, I have my Fresh Fig, I have my Lemon Lime Twist, and I have the Tranquil Tide. And I also have the Cajun Craze, Cherry Cobbler, and Pumpkin Pie. So those are all of the colors I'm using for my leaves. They might be a little busy. There's quite a few colors happening there, but I really wanted to capture all of the beautiful colors that fall brings. So I'm gonna use all of those. And then for the tree trunks, I have my Soft Suede and my Early Espresso markers here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is the trunks. So I'm going to take the thick tip of the marker. We have a thin tip and a thick tip. So I'm taking the big coloring side, and I'm just gonna start by coloring in the tree trunks. And I'm just going from in the tree down the trunk, just where it looks like it is on the stamp. Okay, so coloring all those in. And now that's with Soft Suede. I'm going to take my Early Espresso, and I'm just gonna come in and just kind of do a couple little, I'm barely even touching it. You know how birch trees kind of have that gradation effect? They kind of have more spots on one side than another. I'm kind of trying to simulate that with my markers. So I'm just gonna stamp that down, and there are the trunks so far. Now the great thing about the Stamparatus is that as long as your paper doesn't move, you can take the plates off and you can put them back on. They're going to stamp in the exact same spot. So that's one thing that I absolutely love about this tool. So now I'm going to take some of that Lemon Lime Twist, and from the tree trunk out, I'm just going to do like little lines just to kind of get the middle. And I'm not an artist by any means, but I'm trying to mimic the way that I see the trees turning colors around me. I love the way that the trees keep their green, and then you can see the yellow and the orange and the red, and it gets deeper and darker as the season goes on. So there's the green. I'm actually going to stamp that light green down so I can kind of see where we're at as we go. So that is looking pretty darn beautiful, in my opinion. So now I have my Tranquil Tide, and I'm just going to come out a little bit farther, and I'm not going to color this one in quite as much. I want it to be more mottled. So I'm just going to put kind of around the outside mixed with the inside a little bit. Kind of, you know how the trees look, kind of all over the place, kind of calico almost. So a couple spots here and there. Okay, and then you can always add more color. So I would start light if you're not sure what you want to do. I really like the freedom of the creativity, the freedom to do what I want and then watch it come together. So I'm just kind of going with the flow. So I do want a little bit more of the light green in the middle. And if you don't want to mesh your colors together, your stamp ink with your, the ink that's on your stamp with the ink on your marker tip, if you don't want to mix those together, you can certainly use a sponge dauber for this part. But I kind of like how those colors are going to join. And then I'm just going to clean my stamp off or my marker tip off by rubbing it on some scratch paper. So I'm really okay with mixing them together a little bit. Okay, so let's stamp that down. I love watching this come together too. All right, so now I'm going to introduce a little bit of color. I'm going to start with the lightest color and then go towards the darker colors. So I'm gonna start with my orange, my pumpkin pie. I'm just gonna kind of squiggle that all around the perimeter of the tree. And who knows, maybe I'll get done with orange and I'll say, you know, that's enough color. I doubt it, but it could happen. It might happen that way. So then we're gonna lift that up with that orange. And you can see that it kind of touched base on the outside edges. It looks a little bit more brown, but the trees also sometimes look like that too. So I'm really okay with how this is turning out. I am gonna bring in just a touch of purple, and I'm gonna kind of look for the bald spots on here to see where I really need to add more color. So I'm going to bring in, and this is pretty dark color, so I'm just gonna bring this in on the very edge of these branches down here and a little bit up at the top. And again, if you want to soften the transitions between the colors, you can do that with a sponge dauber. Just go right over the top of this with your sponge dauber and kind of blend those colors together. It'll lighten it up and blend. Okay, so back on, here we go. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think I do want a little bit of red to get in there. So I'm going to just do a little bit more. And this time I'm just going to kind of blot down my marker, just kind of really get that in the middle. And then with that red, I'm also going to go back in with more orange. Okay, and then you can kind of see little splotches in there. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna stop there. We're gonna continue with the rest of the card. All right, now we're ready to do some big shot work. So I'm gonna pull this out here, and I have my magnetic platform on here right now, but I'm gonna switch that out for the regular platform. And then with this beautiful gold foil, I'm going to line it up inside of our tin tile embossing folder. And you want to make sure that the logo is on the top, it's facing you. And I'm going to line this up and try to get it as symmetrical as possible. And I'm kind of using these circles in the corners as my reference. So I'm just gonna kind of move it around until I think that it looks fairly straight. So I have the fold side right here. I'm gonna put it directly on the platform without a cutting plate because this is the dynamic folder, so it's a lot thicker than the standard folders. You really only need one plate, but again, sometimes big shots can differ, so you wanna make sure that you kind of test it out and see what's gonna work for you. And oh my gosh, I can't wait for this part. This is my favorite. Look at that. Oh my gosh, you guys. this is by far, hands down, one of my most favorite folders ever. This is just gorgeous, and I am so excited that I'm using it on this card because it's just beautiful. I just love it. Okay, so I am also using my Stitched Shapes framelits dies. I'm going to use 2 of the ovals, the large and the second largest. So I'm going to grab those out. I'm going to swap this platform for my magnetic. If you're wondering if the magnetic platform is worth it, yes. Just simply yes, it is worth it. So I'm going to take my card mat that I cut. This is our 4" by 5 1/4" inch piece. And from the middle of that, since it's going to get covered up, I'm going to cut the largest oval from the Stitched Shapes framelits. So we're going to cut that out. And now from the trees with the smaller oval, I'm just going to cut out 2 trees. And I want to get kind of as much of the tops of the trees as I can because I really like the tops. I'm okay cutting off some of the trunk, but I really want to keep as much top as I can. And depending on what trees you like the best, what colors came out the best in your opinion, you can cut these out from anywhere on this strip of trees. I'm going to opt to do the 2 on the left. So we're just going to run that through. And there we go. Now we can save these. We could even cut them out now if we wanted to, so that we can make more than 1 card at a time. But I'm going to save that for later. So now I'm going to get out the sentiment, thinking of you this season. Now, Winter Woods, so you may have seen this in the catalog and thought, oh, that's Christmas. I don't need to get that right now. I can wait. You need the bundle ASAP. And here's why. I am making a fall card with this set. It doesn't look like much of a fall card from just the images on here, but depending on what colors you use, the materials you put with it, you can really use this set year round. Now this sentiment, thinking of you this season, seasons mean seasons. That it doesn't mean Christmas or cold weather. So I am using that stamp, that sentiment on my fall card. So I'm going to stamp it on my scrap of Whisper White here with Fresh Fig ink. This is the old style classic Stampin' pad, so it does not come in this style anymore. It's still a foam top. It's just not this chunky. They've made them a lot more thinner. They're more streamlined. I really like them. So I'm going to stamp this down onto my cardstock there, and we're going to be fussy cutting that out. And I know some people really aren't a fan of fussy cutting, but this one is really pretty easy, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So with my snips, I've got my paper snips here. The first thing I'm going to do is cut this down smaller, and I'm going to be cutting these words apart, so I'm just going to cut like right next to them. I'm going to trim this side, okay, and then I'm just going to trim this right off. Okay, so there's one. Now I'm going to trim the word this. Let's see, let's trim this as well. And then we're going to cut that off. Okay, so now we're going to fussy cut season. So I'm just going to start up here, and I'm going to leave a little bit of white space because I don't want it too thin. I still want to be able to grab onto it, and I still want it to contrast a little bit on my card. So I'm going to leave a little bit of white around, and then I'm just going to kind of follow the curves and just move my paper around. I'm not moving my scissors. And you can see that my cutting on this is very subtle. I'm not doing big sharp corners into all of those letters. I'm just doing a very subtle curve around each one. So I'm gonna just touch up the end here. There we go. Okay. And then with our thinking of you, I'm actually going to trim that down a little bit more. And then I'm going to cut the thinking and the of you apart. All right, we're ready to start assembling. I'm going to take some of our snail adhesive and put some on the back of this. And then I'm going to put that on top of our card mat that we cut the oval from, and you won't even know it's missing. All right, now before I glue this down to my oval, I want to take some of our rose metallic thread. Now you might be thinking, why are you putting pink on there? Let me tell you, when you have metallics, in my opinion, they kind of act as neutrals. So I really love how this rose metallic works with the gold. I mean, you can't really see it directly on the gold, but when it all comes together, it just looks so pretty. And this rose does pick up on the reds and the purple tones in my trees. So I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to put a couple little strips on the back of that, and we're just going to start there. Sometimes the thread, the metallic thread, can be a little funny to work with, so you just have to kind of have patience and go with it. So what I'm going to do is just kind of do a few loop-de-loops here so that they kind of overlap each other like this. And then I'm going to go back over it a second time. And I'm really only doing one edge. I'm not going to do the whole thing. And then I'm going to take my snail again and very carefully just kind of glue over. And I'm going in the direction that the thread is laying. I'm not going across it because I want to make sure that it doesn't bunch up on me the wrong direction. Okay, so now we're going to take that and put that right onto our oval. Okay, we're going to take our dimensionals and pop that up. And I'm going to put it over here. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do the opposite side on this card. And I want that metallic thread to just barely peek through off the edge. Okay, so we're going to put that there. On this, I'm going to raise this with dimensionals behind the O and the N. And for that, I am going to use my mini dimensionals. So I'm just going to put 2 off to the side over there. And I'm going to stick this down kind of half on and half off of our oval. And I'm also going to raise these with mini dimensionals. Okay, so now we're going to take our card base, fold that in half, and glue this down. I am going to raise it up with my dimensionals to give it a little bit more contrast. Since the mat is the same color as the card base, I want to raise it up so that you can kind of see the shadow and it really differentiates those two pieces of cardstock there. And there we are, creators. There is our gorgeous fall card using a stamp set that one would normally associate with Christmas or cold weather. I really wanted to showcase that set along with this beautiful tin tile embossing folder. These items are a staple in your holiday craft kit this year. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified when I post videos in the future. You can follow me online at melissascreations.com and on Facebook at facebook.com/MKre8tions. I'm also on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest with the handle @MKre8tions. I hope you enjoyed this project today. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!